The greatness that is Damon Bruce, plus Damon Bruce, the broadcasting legend. He's been covering the Warriors a lot lately, and I'm going to pick his brain next. This is Locked On Warriors.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can follow the legend, the man himself, Damon Bruce, on Twitter at Damon Bruce, and subscribe to Damon Bruce. Are you still going with plus or is it plus? What are we rolling with these days?
Well, it's spelled Plus. Technically, that's plus where we all come from. But we love to put a little panache on that, if you will, a little emphasis or emphasis. Plus. There it is.
I love it. That's why I always go, Damon Bruce, plus.
Thank you. Get some culture, you pig.
Absolutely. How you doing, brother? Great to see you. And give us I know you probably answered this a million times, but what is your reaction to Chris Paul being a member of the Warriors? Because a week later, it's still pretty shocking, man. Good to see you, brother.
It is. It's great to see you. And let's just hop right into it. If the goal is to get me interested in the next basketball season, mission accomplished. I mean, I don't know how it's going to work, if it was the right move, if it will prove to have been the wrong move. Does it even have anything to do with really acquiring Chris Paul? Is it just the Jordan Poole salary dump? Is the goal more to get under the second apron than it is to bring in CP3? At the same time, I don't know if he's going to fit. Is he too old? Of course he is, but lobs to Kuminga and Trayce Jackson-Davis got me thinking. And so, let's do it. Let's play some basketball. And I'll give the Warriors that much. Like, I want to see it. It's hard to predict what we're going to see, but I want to see it.
Well, I guess I'll start with this. I saw a report. I can't remember who published it, but it was pretty reputable that the Warriors were actually shopping Jordan Poole to other teams. I mean, I think you heard about the fact that they talked to the Celtics. I found out, I read today they were talking to the Raptors, shopping Poole for possibly OG Anunoby, and the Raptors basically laughed in their faces.
So all the Hoosiers together, just give me all the Hoosiers.
Exactly. So I didn't know OG Anunoby is a Hoosier. So there you go. That's another positive. But ultimately it ends up getting Chris Paul. Mark Spears reported today that he expects, who knows if this is true or not, but he expects Chris Paul to start. And that's mind-blowing to me. Now, look, it's not that surprising given, I don't know if you've heard this. When I heard this, I was kind of taken aback that Chris Paul has never come off the bench in his entire career, even as a rookie. So I understand. So maybe that's what's going into this, is similar to Klay Thompson. These are individuals with pride. But what are your thoughts on that, man? Because that makes a small team smaller.
It does. I mean, I don't know if we'd be looking at that as, so you're starting the game and you're officially playing, the 15 minutes of the first quarter, I'm already in my, football mode almost, but the 12 minutes of the first quarter or anything like that. Who knows what to start means? I think he's going to be out there finishing games.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's more important than starting. Like,
absolutely.
Whatever it takes to make kumbaya, whatever it takes to really get this working. And I'll tell you one thing right now, if Draymond Green were to shock the world and end up in another uniform, Cyrus, what you then have is, Chris Paul is probably now your point guard. Steph Curry is your shooting guard, obviously more than that. Klay is your 3. Wiggins is your 4. And now all of a sudden, Kevon Looney is the man in the middle. I mean, it just that would be as Chris Paul starting. Who's sitting for? I mean, who's not starting if Chris Paul is starting?
Right. Well, I guess Looney. That's what Mark Spears said. Go to
the bench. Is that?
Looney goes to the bench. It's ridiculous. I think. I don't know.
It sounds like we would then be besmirching Steve Kerr's favorite son. Right. Like I just don't see Looney getting the short end of the stick at any time, really.
Unless Spears said, I don't who knows if it's true. That's what he literally said that though. It's crazy to me, man. Were you surprised that the Chris Paul trade even happened? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I heard you say that you didn't expect the team to make any moves. I don't think a lot of people did. And Chris Paul was obviously very surprising. Look,
I got it half right, Cyrus. I said I didn't think that Kuminga or Poole would be moved. And the reason why Poole was moved, to me, it's got more to do with the financial strategy than it does a basketball strategy. I still think if money were no object and that were the environment, the world that the Warriors were still operating in, Jordan Poole's still on the team.
Yeah,
I mean, to give up on a kid who dropped like 24 before the age of 24 when he went out and he started. I know that the playoffs left everyone with a very sour taste in their mouths, and always it felt ill-timed in a loss, stupid plays and turnovers were all anyone could remember. Look, I think Jordan Poole has got skill that is rarely seen this early in a career when it comes to scoring a ball. Now, obviously it wasn't the fit. Obviously there was some, mental breakup, a divorce, if you will, that happened between the older vets and Poole, and who filed for divorce. I really don't know. It's obvious that Steve Kerr felt differently about it when it was all said and done, and he didn't think he could put Humpty Dumpty back together again. So, there are a lot of things that went into it, but more than anything, I think it's the money that they save now on the back end. Again, from the Poole contract that they gave Poole, so they sort of painted themselves into a corner, and then they traded the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. My guess is, and I've heard speculation that kind of feeds into this, is they did it partly as well. But money, I think, plays a huge part. That contract was egregious. But his performance last year, especially the tail end, defensively, his efficiency numbers kind of regressed, even though he is a scorer. But I heard a huge part of this was to placate Draymond Green, to make him happy. It wasn't functioning. And with those two together, and look, Jordan Poole unfollowed Draymond like the moment this happened. So maybe there's some truth to that. But do you think there's a possibility Draymond could still leave? Because I feel like if Draymond signs elsewhere, and speculation includes the Kings, the Pistons, the Trailblazers, I think the dynasty, whatever vision you have for this team, it's done. Like in terms of championships, if Draymond leaves, do you think that's a possibility? Your thoughts?
Cyrus, anything becomes a possibility when options hit the table in front of athletes who are negotiating what they think is their last big payday. Now, I think the Warriors are going to get this right. I'd be stunned if Draymond Green left.
Same.
But who knows? Who knows what opportunity will present itself to Draymond come Friday afternoon that he'll sleep on for a night and he'll think about a little. And I don't know. What is that opportunity? At what dollar amount? At how many years is it coming in? I don't know any of that. I don't know who even the team would be. I don't think it would be the Sacramento Kings. That's a little, if Draymond's going to up and go, he's going to up and go, not up and go 45, 50 minutes up the road. I don't think he's doing that. Lakers, again, it's a stretch on their part too, so I don't see that happening. So what might the rest of it look like? I don't know. I don't know. What if you're telling me that the Spurs, with all of their cap room, and Greg Popovich says, I want Victor Wembanyama playing next to basketball equivalent of Steve Atwater in the early part of his career. And look, Draymond, we're not going to win a championship anytime soon. We might not be back into the playoffs. So what we're going to offer you is $30 million over 3 years. So, 3 years, $90 million. But now you're living in Texas with no state income tax. So that $90 million here is worth more than $90 million. If that were the number, if your magic number is $100 million, we can meet that easier here. Who the hell knows is what I guess I'm trying to say. What's the old line in comedy that a man is as loyal as his options?
Yes, that's Chris Rock. Yes, a man is as faithful as his options. Yes.
So here we are. We're looking at Draymond hold the most power in his hand he's ever held over the Warriors, and he's going to be looking at options.
Yes,
so
you're absolutely right.
It's going to be fascinating.
You're absolutely right. Look, you pay no state income tax in Texas, but you got to deal with that weather, right? I think that's where it all
He's got air conditioning. Like
I don't know
I
if you
bet he'll be able to buy a backup generator and he'll do okay. Like let me tell you, you know who really suffers in Texas? Not the rich people.
No.
It's not the rich people. Anywhere you look, who's suffering today? It's not the ultra wealthy. It's not.
Oh my God. I lived in Texas for 2 years, but I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I lasted. That humidity is real. And we got a lot more to talk about with Damon Bruce here. Got to give some love first to one of our sponsors, and that is eBay Motors. And this brings up a question I want to ask you, Damon, on a personal level. What kind of car do you drive? I'm sure people are curious.
So it is now, because of 2 kids, it's a Kia Sorento, baby. That is like Jillian went out looking for, the #1 rated family car. She comes back. She's like, Kia Sorento. I'm like, really? That's what I love the thing. I love the thing. I'm down. I roll with Kia Sorento. Sorento mob, Cyrus.
Oh, I love it. I'm so happy you did not succumb to the traditional minivan. I will not be caught dead in one of those things, man. And no offense to the dads out there who got suckered into it, but you will never see me in a minivan. I'm so
you never choose minivan. Minivan chooses you, right? Isn't that
well, whatever car you're driving out there, for a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part has to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits just right the first time around. Just add your ride, drag it over to the My Garage section of the page, and look for the green check to know that the part will fit or your money back. That's called a guarantee, folks, because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. Everydayers. Tomorrow on the show, Kylan Mills will join me again. Follow the program on Twitter at Locked On Dubs to find out what time. It's going to be a free agent extravaganza because Friday is when free agency opens, and the Warriors damn well better be active if they want to call themselves contenders. Damon Bruce, you can follow him on Twitter at Damon Bruce. You can subscribe to his YouTube channel, Damon Bruce Plus. Damon Bruce Plus.
Do people know that we met at a radio station and how far back we go? Because I tell you, I've known you for so long, and I know talking to Cyrus voice, and I know taping a promo Cyrus voice, and you dropped 2, maybe even 3 octaves about halfway through that read, and you put a little broadcaster on that, my man.
Dude, I was the voice of KNBR for a few years there, which is psychotic when you think about that.
I heard Cyrus doing a promo for Tap Plastics in my ear. That's what I just heard.
I mean, you have the voice, dude. Your voice is exemplary, sir. But thank you for that. That's very kind of you. In your opinion, Damon, and again, folks can follow you on Twitter, Damon Bruce. They can subscribe to your channel, Damon Bruce Plus, Damon Bruce Plus. Are the Warriors contenders this year? What is your Are they going to be at least in the discussion? What are your thoughts on the Warriors this coming season?
Yeah, I mean, they're contenders to be a playoff team. They're going to be a contender, I think, to win a playoff round based on who's available and healthy at that time. If you're telling me a healthy, well-rested Warriors team with a decent seed gets to the finish line, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's what they do. I'm still not ready to throw them out of the conversation until it's officially time to throw themselves out of the conversation. And it's not that time yet.
Yes.
It's not that time yet. Now, I could see how it could become that time, like in the blink of an eye here. I do.
Yeah.
You're not one, but you're 2 injuries away from, oh boy, but what team really isn't, to be honest, what team isn't? So it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's going to be interesting. They still got the three guys, if they still indeed have Draymond Green, who don't do a lot of losing. They do more winning than losing in their careers. So, yeah, contenders, sure. Contenders to definitely challenge the Denver Nuggets for Western Conference supremacy. We'll get there. We'll see.
Yeah,
today,
I don't see that at all right now. That's why
not today.
No.
Imagine the year that Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green had together. If you're feeling that way at the end of the year, imagine what Chris Paul will have done, what Jonathan Kuminga would have possibly turned into for that to happen. What my guy, Trayce Jackson-Davis, is going to, he's a rookie of the year. Like, is he a rookie of the year candidate at that point if all that is happening? Maybe.
I want to end the show on a great note, because I consider you a Trayce Jackson-Davis expert.
I'm a Trayce
and I can't wait to hear your evaluation and analysis of him. But before we get to that, though, I'm going to paint you a picture, because if the Warriors don't make any more trades, I feel like the only way they could be legitimate contenders is if Jonathan Kuminga turns into the Kawhi Leonard of year 3 Spurs, if Moses Moody turns into a legitimate 25-plus minute a contributing shooting guard to back up Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson himself has to dedicate himself to conditioning and be making those threes he was missing in last year's postseason. Those things have to go perfectly well. And even then, I don't know if they can beat the Nuggets. Your thoughts on that picture I painted?
Yeah, no, does anyone want a piece of the Nuggets? Like, that's not just the Warriors' problem. That's the entire NBA's problem. That's Phoenix's problem. That's the Lakers' problem. The Nuggets got a 1-2 legit punch in Jokic and Murray, and then that team that has been built well around them, and they're going to have that confidence. Now, maybe there'll be a little bit of a championship hangover. I don't know. They don't feel like they got that in their DNA, but playing with the burden of defending champion has rendered this league quite often, how many back-to-backs do you really get? You don't get that many. So nothing's guaranteed. By the way, the Nuggets are one terrible high ankle sprain of Jokic at the wrong time away from blowing.
There's a few like hypotheticals. That's one. Another is Jokic goes home to Serbia and decides to party the whole summer and comes back fat and out of shape. There's a lot of weird scenarios, right? Where it could fall for the Nuggets. They're losing Bruce Brown likely in all likelihood, which will put a chink in that armor of theirs. But they're the team to beat. I don't doubt that for a second. I personally really hope the Warriors make another trade. I just don't see how this turns into a championship in the current incarnation. I don't get it, but
it's hard to start evaluating who's got a shot against who when we haven't even gone through free agency. I mean, there's teams DNAs are going to change an awful lot between now and Halloween, when is opening night. We're a long ways away from the start of the year. So I don't want to start handicapping too much right now, other than the Warriors are just oddly poorly built, well built, still interesting after all these years. Like, it's hard to hold on to what they're holding on to. History says you're going to lose grip of excellence a lot earlier than the Warriors have lost their grip on anything. So it's going to be fascinating to watch it all come down, Cyrus. We just had a really interesting. It didn't work out the right way. It wasn't wrapped up in a pretty package that everyone wanted, but was that an interesting basketball season? Yes or no? You have to check the box at yes. Well, next year is set up to be even, I think, more interesting than that. So
absolutely. Are there any, have you done research on free agency? Like, is there anyone in the center position or power forward, whatever you label these positions? Are there any bigs out there that you see as feasible, like realistic, the Warriors could grab for a veteran minimum? Have you done that research or not? Or if not, that's fine.
The question is, who wants to come play for pennies? And until you have that list, until you have the I'm willing to leave money on the table for opportunity to play here, until you got that list, there's really no list to even work off of. So, you know who I think is about to go through if they do move on from him, catastrophic drop in value? Harrison Barnes.
Lay it on me. Who?
Harrison Barnes, right? What does anyone want to pay Harrison Barnes what he's making anymore? What's going to happen? Is Harrison Barnes going to be would you be interested in Harrison Barnes 2.0 with the Warriors? Not really, but at a veteran minimum,
He wouldn't take that though, right? I mean, I don't see that being a realistic.
It would be a huge slap in the face. I mean, it would.
Well, you know, I'm glad you brought Harrison Barnes up because I just saw or heard, I don't know if it was on a podcast, but I saw the read the written version where supposedly back when Barnes was with the Mavericks, the reason why they traded him was because their head coach at the time, your guy in Indiana. Are you a Pacers fan as well, by the way?
No.
Okay.
No,
so Hoosiers, and then
that's it. We draw a circle around Bloomington, and that's the list.
Well, supposedly he loved Harrison Barnes so much that the team felt like they had to trade him so that he wasn't this crutch anymore, so that Luke could be the focus of the offense. Who knows if that's true? But I read that and I laughed because there is this perennial struggle in almost every organization between front offices and coaches, right? You give a coach a player, you expect that player to play or not play or whatever, and then the coach does something different and it creates strife. I guess I felt like that happened last year with the Warriors in a lot of regards. But let's finish the show on a very positive note. Trayce Jackson-Davis, I felt like that saved draft day. That draft day was crazy because Chris Paul was acquired. Then they go with Brandon Pajemski. Mixed reviews. Some people love him. Some people are like, he's not going to do much this year. But to me, Trayce Jackson-Davis was salvation. And you were hyping him up for months before the draft. You watched this kid play all season. What can Warriors expect with the possible steal of the draft, the number 57, Trayce Jackson-Davis?
You're going to get the most developed rookie that Steve Kerr has ever had a chance to coach. Full stop. Steve spends an awful lot of his time trying to coach lemons into lemonade. What he has is lemonade to start with. How delicious, how cold and refreshing it's about to be, we'll all find out when he's done stirring it. But you got a glass of lemonade, not lemons, and good luck with that. He is a developed player. He is look, they've been playing basketball at Indiana for a long time. They've been keeping stats since 1901. He's the career leading rebounder and shot blocker at Indiana University, the third all-time leading scorer at Indiana. I mean, this is, dude, we ain't talking Santa Clara, with all due respect to Pajemski, all right? You know, like all the questions of the amount of seasoning and success that Pajemski legitimately has attached to him. You've watched Trayce Jackson-Davis answer over a 4-year career at the highest level of pressure and burden and expectation to be great as you can offer in college basketball. It's like he's coming from a junior NBA team. The pressure on Trayce Jackson-Davis, he's more important than the mayor of Bloomington. He's more important than the governor of the state of Indiana. There wasn't a bigger name in the state of Indiana the last 3-4 years than Trayce Jackson-Davis. He has had the entire Hoosier Nation spotlight on him, and I've watched him, Cyrus, every single game he has played over 4 years. It would have been impossible for the Warriors to draft anyone that I know more about than Trayce Jackson-Davis. What I think you're going to love about him is he will play to and embrace his strengths, and he will avoid and get out of his weaknesses. That's what he does, man. He's smart. Footwork.
And I feel like they went back to what was a successful model and philosophy in drafting, which was get players who have college experience. Who cares if they're a year or two older? You're getting a much more likely player who can actually play, as opposed to like this gamble, this risk.
There are times where the ball of clay is so seductively interesting, you have to take your chance on the ball of clay. James Wiseman. Sometimes it's so interesting, you got to take that swing. There are other times where you take that, and I'm not saying that Trayce Jackson-Davis is an ashtray, but what's the least a ball of clay can be molded into? I'm thinking like a child's ashtray. Well, at least it's got a job. At least it knows what it is and knows what it does. And you know that you're getting an ashtray. And that's the thing. They got a basketball player. What kind of basketball player? I don't know. But historically, if you've got 2,000 points scored and 1,000 rebounds in your college career, that translates to an NBA career. To what level of success that career is, I don't know. And what do I mean by a career? I mean, you sign a second contract. Trayce Jackson-Davis isn't one of those, gee, I hope Patrick McCaw, I hope Jacob Evans can sure play at this level. I hope Brandon Pajemski can sure play at this level. There's an awful lot of DNA in Trayce Jackson-Davis that suggests he can play at this level.
Yep.
Maybe the most important bit of that DNA has nothing to do with the resume he put together in Bloomington, but the DNA of his father, who was Dale Davis, who banged with the Pacers when they were playing against Michael Jordan, for goodness sake. So the Warriors have done well with the sons of former NBA players. They have a son of a former NBA player that has taught his kid layups are good. Don't go. You're 6'9". Stay away from the perimeter. You don't have much of a shot, so don't shoot it.
That's okay.
Do what you do well.
Yes.
Do what you do well. A baby hook left-hand pusher from about 10 feet and in, not a jump shot, and then just dunks on everyone. So go do that. Go do that if you're good at that. And then get rebounds, start breaks. Look at it this way. Jalen Hood-Schifino got drafted to be part of the Lakers backcourt. Trayce Jackson-Davis had more assists this year at Indiana than Jalen Hood-Schifino did. He's a better
I was going to say, he's also a good passer, too, on top of everything else.
He sees the court, Cyrus. He sees it. He sees it. He's going to get the chess that is happening that Steve Kerr couldn't or hasn't been able to coach into Kuminga to this point, Patrick Baldwin Jr., who they've said goodbye to, or any other number of rookies. He gets the angles, the geometry of basketball. It's a language he spoke his entire life.
And yeah, for the young kids watching, Dale Davis was a stud. I mean, there's nothing that's a negative when it comes to his progeny playing for the Warriors. It's music to my ears, man.
He was a banger. He came from the I'm putting my shoulder into your chest and trying to through you era of basketball. And his kid plays like that a little bit too.
It's been a long time since the Warriors did something that absolutely passes the smell test. And I feel like Trayce Jackson-Davis did just that. So I'm stoked on that.
If you get Trayce Jackson-Davis at 58, 50, whatever it was, with the second to last pick of the second round of the draft, you nailed it.
Incredible.
You nailed it. There's no way he disappoints for the history of what that draft position normally produces throughout the course of basketball history.
Absolutely. And AC, who wrote in the chat, Trayce's agent was telling teams he isn't going to sign a two-way deal. I heard the same thing. And if that's true, I'm stoked, man, because the Warriors gave him that guaranteed contract. He's expected to play. I'm ecstatic, man. Damon, before you go, promote anything you like, man. You got the YouTube channel, Damon Bruce Plus, your Twitter handle @Damon Bruce. Anything else you like to promote, sir?
Yeah, just go ahead and please click that subscribe button to Damon Bruce Plus. It is it's officially growing. Every time I look down, there's more and more. We've had a couple of hundred people subscribe in just the last 72 hours. There's a lot of Trayce Jackson-Davis love coming my way. We are going to be covering him completely. So if you're a Warriors fan, you do a lot worse than subscribing to Damon Bruce Plus. Got the podcast.
When you're at the arena now, I've noticed, like you're at press conferences, like you're a fixture at Chase, man. I've noticed that, or you're becoming like an insider.
Dude, I dig it now. I got time. I don't have to sit in a radio station studio for 4 hours talking to Ray Ratto every day. So I got time to go do shit now, Cyrus.
I texted Raymond Ritter yesterday that I'm back in terms of physical appearances. So if you're doing the same, man, we're hanging out. I'm excited for that because I'm going to be coming to practices and games this year. But regardless, man, follow Damon Bruce on Twitter @Damon Bruce. Subscribe to his YouTube channel, Damon Bruce Plus, a.k.a. Damon Bruce Plus. And brother, love you, man. Thank you as always. And for everyone wondering about free agents, Kylan and I tomorrow are going to do possibly an hour just talking about free agents. We're ecstatic about it. The Warriors are going to be active, so we'll see how that goes. Damon, love you, man. Thank you so much. And yeah, let's do this again soon. And I'm on your show anytime you want me.
Always a pleasure, brother. We'll do it real soon.
Love it, man. That's Damon Bruce. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, all good, man. Thank you.